All right, House of Payne fans, hope everyone is doing well. We are talking about a relatively popular fan theory going on in regards to the season premiere for season 10. So before moving forward in the video, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like it. Hit subscribe because we are almost at 175,000 subscribers. Follow me on my social media platforms. Links are in the description below. And hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. I have to say, a lot of people have been knocking on my DMs about this, if you will. Instagram, Twitter, as well as the YouTube comment section on my review of Whiplash. And I have to say, thanks for the support on the video. I mean, it's almost at 3,000 hits. Even though the video itself is about 6 or 7 minutes longer than the actual episode, I wanted to take my time because this was a episode worthy of praise. Now, I've seen some people say that this episode was better than a majority, if not all, of season 9, but it just didn't quite live up to the charm of the original series. I will say that if season 9 had the same level of quality as this one episode, I think season 9 would have been received. It would have received a warmer reception from fans. I feel like that's the most appropriate way to sum it all up. But just thank you for allowing me to not rant and not even talk in circles. But I really felt like that episode review, I wanted to take my time with it, cover as many positive points as possible. And if you listen to that video, I know some people have said, wow, Jeremy, it's been a while since I've heard your, basically like the energy in that video is how you used to be in the haves and the have not content I used to post, because that was before the show got so repetitive and lacking the quality of the old days. But as I always say on the channel, if you're new to the channel and you might come across a video that sounds really negative, I always say that I make a point of pointing out the good as well as the bad. And even when I point out the bad, I point out potential critiques that could have made it better. So just know this isn't a rant channel. This is a channel where I talk about the good, bad, ugly, and how to make things better. So one popular fan theory going around is Malik potentially becoming a firefighter. Now, this really stemmed from the line that Ella said about how she couldn't take it anymore, when it came to firefighters and the family, given the fact that the beginning of the episode had Ella and Lisa panicking because they didn't know what happened to CJ. How was he? They weren't able to get through on the hospitals to any of the floors, so they can at least get just a report on how he was doing. And it makes sense because, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there like a multi-part episode in the House of Payne series on TBS where Calvin went inside when Curtis told him not to, then CJ had to go save his butt, and then he got trapped under some rubble. So, yeah, I mean, there have been multiple times where I can definitely see Ellie is, her husband, her son, her nephew, all in the line of duty to save lives. And then sometimes they get into situations where you just don't know if they're going to come out again. So, the way I see it, because I know season 10 is definitely starting off on a positive note, but it is showing that the show is going more in a different direction than season 9 put it. Season 9 was almost the equivalent of a kindergartner drawing a map from memory, and there's a bunch of scribbles and overlapping storylines. Overlapping paths, as opposed to a cohesive map that's easy to follow. I feel like season 10 might go the route of compelling storytelling, but the thing is, it needs to take its time in order to make it make sense. Like, I don't know the qualifications of what it takes to be a firefighter, like if there is a degree for that, or if there's just a matter of physical capability and training and whatnot. We know that Malik is about to be on academic probation because he announces it in one of the upcoming episodes. I think it's season 10 episode 3, and as a result of that, you have to wonder if he's going to still pursue his degree of study or do something else, because of the fact that I really do wish that we could have had more time developed of CJ being in the hospital than his recovery time. And maybe we could have had some good Malik and CJ scenes, because given the fact that this is all supposed to happen within the span of less than 24 hours, it's like, oh, the season 9 finale was at night, and that's when Janine had called Malik saying that his dad was badly injured. And then the next day, which is the premiere of season 10, CJ comes home from the hospital. Miranda's been very helpful. Lisa has been very helpful. And Malik's been helping out too. And it's like, well, it just feels like there's a lot crammed into that space of like 24 hours or less. So it would have been great to have a good moment between father and son, having Malik step up and whatnot. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that Malik has a lot of extra hands around the house to help him take care of his dad. Like, who's going to watch the twins? I mean, Janine is mentioned but not seen. And given the fact that China Anne McClain isn't in the opening credits, it's debatable as to whether or not she's going to show up in the season at all. I mean, perhaps there could be an episode or two where she does show up and she will be in the opening credits, but somehow I doubt that. So I think that when it comes to Malik, having his auntie, baby mama, his would Miranda be like his second cousin once removed due to divorce? I don't know. But in any case, he's juggling a lot right now. So I imagine, remember on Family Matters, even though I really don't like to think about the final season because it really wasn't that good, didn't Eddie choose to become a cop after being inspired by his father? And then he got into a situation when Harriet actually put him almost like a meter maid equivalent, where he just was basically doing the lowest tier cop work as opposed to being out in the field like his father. And even when he was doing his regular job of, I think he was a meter maid, there was a perp that opened fire on him. And that pretty much showed that even in the lowest tier position of police, there's still danger out there. So I think when it comes down to Malik, it would be interesting to have him follow in the footsteps of his father, cousin, and great uncle Curtis, if I'm not mistaken, because of the fact that he's inspired by his dad. I mean, I think it was mentioned in season 9 that CJ had gotten Malik a job, but we had never gotten follow up on that because season 9 was just a hot mess. So I wonder if CJ got the job for Malik, like, I don't know, a lower tier job at the fire station. Maybe he was like an intern or something like that. I don't know, maybe like a administrative assistant / secretary taking calls. I don't know, but I feel like with CJ being, chief, he would have some pull in certain positions, if not a minimum wage job with benefits, so Malik could save up so he and Lisa can move out, because that was something that was brought up in the first episode of the season. Oh yeah, I'm just glad I got a son. I got, Lisa and my auntie, taking care of me. Well, living under my own roof, taking care of me, but y'all gonna have to get jobs and save up money so y'all can move out. So it's really interesting how that could be a situation for CJ to implement for his son and quote unquote future daughter-in-law if they do get married at some point. But there's also the fear of him being suspended without benefits at all from being fire chief. So I wonder if something happens to CJ, not physically, but basically being terminated, would that inspire Malik to actually step up and be in a position like his father where he'll work his way up to honor his dad? But at the same time, there's also the fear of, hey son, look at what happened to me. I don't want you to be in the same position, given the fact that you have a unborn child on the way. This could be compelling ass storytelling at its finest. But then I think Malik will still do it, because look, guys, I know some people have brought up certain things, like, for example, I think it's the next episode where Ella goes to get a mammogram and then discovers a lump, or is that episode 3? I think it's episode 3, because next week is focused on Calvin and Laura. But in an upcoming episode about the whole mammogram thing and finding a bump or a lump, somebody's like, well, Jeremy, that's something from the original House of Payne. Honestly, I didn't know. I made it clear several times that when the original House of Payne came up, I was young. I was just a fan watching. I wasn't studying the series like I do with the shows I watch now. I wasn't doing reviews or tweets or anything. I was just a fan. Then, TBS kept changing the damn hours, and I had to wake up to go to school, so I couldn't stay up late, like at 10:30 or 11 o'clock to watch the latest episode. So there was a good stretch of House of Payne that I do not remember. It's almost like when the second Aunt Viv came on The Fresh Prince. Even though I watched every episode, I prefer the first 3 seasons. It's not even the second Aunt Viv that made me not like the show. It's just that the back half of Fresh Prince focused more on the kids, and it felt like the adults, Uncle Phil, Aunt Viv, Jeffrey, were just kind of, on an ensemble cast, And like that was a point. No, I think it was really when the kid, like Will and Carlton, went to college. I don't know why, but not every show that has the main cast going to college is a hit, because it feels like everybody else is kind of pushed to the side. And then it got a bit too crazy because it was like Jay Leno, Chris Rock. There were so many guest stars that it felt like the main cast got lost in the mix. And I know that was just a random cutaway, but I just had to say that. So when people mention certain storylines, I don't remember, because I didn't watch every single episode of House of Payne. But I do think it would be pretty cool to show, because they could have showed this in the original House of Payne, but I just don't remember, or I never saw it. Did they ever explain what inspired CJ to become a firefighter? Was it his Uncle Curtis? I mean, because if that's the case, I can imagine CJ being a voice of reason, but then maybe Malik, in a non-disrespectful way, will say, well, Dad, what inspired you to become a firefighter? Well, your Uncle Curtis. Well, the way Uncle Curtis inspired you is what has inspired me to become one. So that could be a beautiful father-son moment. And again, it talks about the seriousness of not just firefighters, but anyone who chooses to be in a position of service to save others. It's just you have to realize the very grim possibility that you might not come back from every call, whether it be, a traffic stop or a house fire. You could be crippled. You could be in a position where you lose a limb or some sort of other disability or handicap. And not everybody who goes into one of these emergencies is going to come out in one piece. And at that time, you have to realize that your family and friends might not see you again. You have to think about everything. Is really in a situation where you have to really consider, is my inspiration and love for pursuing this career something that I could pursue, but also have to live with the possibility that I have a lot to leave behind, as well as the people who will be impacted if something happens to me. So I think Ella's line about no more firefighters in the family could be a bit of foreshadowing. But at the moment, I haven't really seen much that hints at Malik wanting to become a firefighter. Now, again, I don't mind if it happens, but if it's done tastefully as opposed to something that feels shoehorned in for the sake of drama. I mean, if there are some little hints here and there of Malik wanting to be a firefighter, that would be great. I mean, if CJ did wind up getting him a job at the firehouse, that will not only be a great thing to have another set location, but also we can actually see the old fire crew, aside from Bart, because apparently something bad happened to him. Not like he died, but apparently he got suspended and lost severance from a situation in the past anyway, during the gap between the original series and the revival series on BET. Now, here's something that I think would be a great way to write in Malik being inspired. CJ goes to that hearing with his head held high, and he explains his side of the situation. But, Malik, the whole family's there, even though I don't think Jasmine or Janine will be there. But let's just say Malik is there. Your Uncle Curtis is going to be there. He's going to be there for CJ, and hopefully Calvin too. And while it seems like, honestly, this could be a great scene, kind of like when John Walker was at that hearing in Falcon and Winter Soldier after he had killed that one flag smasher, and it was recorded all over the world. They could do a recreation of that scene where CJ is pouring his heart out about why he did what he did regardless of the protocol, and he whether or not he wins or loses, Malik has an even greater respect for his father, and then that's what inspires him to become a firefighter. Like, maybe he's working a dead-end job that his dad arranged for him so he can make up enough money to move out of his parents' house. But just seeing the passion and, for lack of a better phrase, the fire in CJ when he's pleading for his career while also explaining why he did what he did and what made him become a firefighter in the start, I could see that light of fire in Malik himself to become a firefighter, leading to Ella being very concerned, and then we'll actually have some good story elements and a story arc from Malik. So that's just my opinion. I don't want this video to go on any longer than it already has, but this is just my, quick thoughts. And remember, this entire season has already been filmed and written, as well as the following season 11. Remember, it's been renewed ahead of time, so who knows if this is the story arc they choose. But either way, I think it would be pretty cool. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate the support on the channel. If you would like to donate, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. And with that being said, I'll catch you all in the next video.